Raise your hand if you're tired of watching the same three Christmas movies every single year. Because, yes, they are good, but if you want to have a movie marathon, because that is part of the Christmas spirit, spend your whole day, at least one day, on the couch just watching Christmas movies with your family and friends. And honestly, three movies don't cut it. So I am here to give you the list of Christmas movies for the ultimate Christmas marathon. And I kind of left out the ones that aren't as good. I am only putting the ones that I've watched, so they do not include everything. So make sure to comment down your favorite Christmas movies so we have a larger list in the comments. And yeah, let's get started because I'm planning a movie marathon this afternoon and tomorrow. So let's get started. So we're going to start with some of the ones that are very common, but don't worry, I'm still going to introduce them in case you haven't watched them yet. We're going to start off with the classics, Home Alone 1 and 2, because in my opinion, those are the two best ones. It kind of goes downhill after that, but sometimes I do like the second one more than the first one. That may be an unpopular opinion. Anyways, it's about this kid, Kevin, who gets home alone, who gets left home alone on Christmas. And he has to fight off burglars, and the next year he finds himself alone in New York again, fighting off burglars. And it's just a really fun movie, and it's around Christmas time. And honestly, it is just so much fun to watch. So if you haven't, I highly recommend. And if you haven't watched it this year yet, go and watch it. Okay, this next one's another fun one and another classic, Elf. This one stars Will Ferrell, and basically he's an elf, but he finds out he's human because he's a lot taller than the rest of the elves, and he goes to find his dad, and he's a really ecstatic elf who's really excited to be in the real life world. Spaghetti and M&M sounds really good, and chocolate sounds extremely good to him. So it's a really fun story, and honestly, if you just want a good laugh, that's the movie for you. Now, this next one's called Christmas with the Cranks. Again, it's a bit of an older movie, and it's about this family who basically sells everything that they have for Christmas because their daughter's off at college. They don't think she's coming home for Christmas. And they're like, we're gonna go on a cruise. We're just gonna have a great life. We're not gonna, but they live in a really Christmassy town, so the town's really mad at them. And anyways, the daughter decides to come back for Christmas with her boyfriend. So suddenly they have nothing for Christmas, and it's like the daughter comes in like a day. So they got to get ready for Christmas. So now this next one is similar to that, but this time it's a new family that comes into town, and this guy decides that he wants his house to be able to be seen from space. So he uses all of these Christmas lights, like so many of them. Anyways, I would be mad to be the neighbor, but the neighbors are included, and they get into some family drama, and there's so much that happens, but it is so much fun. It is so festive, and honestly, it is just so crazy of an idea that it is just hilarious and such a fun watch. Okay, next one is The Grinch. I feel like maybe the guy from Deck the Halls may be on the naughty list a little bit, but if you haven't watched it, The Grinch is really fun. I don't think I've ever seen the classic one, but I have seen the newer version, the cartoon. I know, guys, don't come for me. Anyways, but it's basically about this green guy. His name's the Grinch, and he's very against Christmas. He's trying to steal Christmas, and he does steal Christmas. And there's this little girl that comes along, and he lives in a very Christmassy village that's over the top Christmas, and so you can see that there's an issue. But in the end, his heart grows a little bit to like Christmas, so it's really fun to watch. Next one is maybe not as Christmassy, but it's definitely a really fun rom-com. It is called The Holiday, and it's about these two women, and one lives in England and the other lives in LA, and they switch houses on like this house share place, and well, they each meet a romance on the other side of their countries, and it's just really fun. It's a really sweet rom-com. It's from the early 2000s, which I feel like if it's from the early 2000s, that just automatically makes it a really good movie. So I highly recommend. It's 2 hours long, and it's just really sweet. Honestly, I love it. It's something that I love to watch every single year, and I look forward to watching it. Another one from the early 2000s is The Family Stone, and honestly, that is such a star-studded movie. I only watched it for the first time like a week ago, and it is so good. So basically, it is about this family that's a little bit disjointed, and anyways, they have like these family traditions. Their family's growing, and their firstborn son brings home his girlfriend, and they don't like the girlfriend. The girlfriend's from New York. She's a bit like stuck up maybe a little bit, but I don't know why they didn't like her as much. And anyways, they learn to deal with her. And in the end, the romance goes a totally other way in this big family because they have a lot of family issues. But it's such a sweet like family movie, and about a family. Maybe it's not for family, but it's a family movie, and it's really fun to watch. It's around Christmas season, so you see like different Christmas traditions, and it just is in a way relatable. With a big family, there's bound to be issues and a little bit of conflict. So yeah. Okay, so now we're heading into the newer ones. There may be some of the older ones that show up a little bit later on in this list, but we're heading to the new ones. But unpopular opinion, some of them can be equally or even better than the old ones. Don't come for me. Okay, we're gonna start off with one that's on repeat at my house. It is Christmas Chronicles. It is so much fun. I don't know why, but I like it. Even though I could honestly play in this movie by now. So Netflix, if you're doing a third one, you can cast me, I guess, because I know the first two by heart. Anyways, the point is that it is about these two kids, and they don't get along, and their mom has to work on Christmas, and they want to catch Santa. They're like quite grown up now. They're like teenagers, but they don't get along, and they suddenly find themselves on Santa's sleigh, and they have to save Christmas because they kind of ruined it. But they have to learn to work together. And in the second one, it's a similar issue again. Two siblings don't like work together, but this time it is about the sister who was in the first one and a stepbrother. And again, they have to save Christmas, because they're kind of wrecking it a little bit, not helping, and it's really fun. I highly recommend watching it on repeat. Even if it's on repeat, it's still that good. Like I've seen it 50 times, I think, this year so far. It's still good, guys. Next up is The Christmas Prince. Honestly, this is one of my favorites. So there's three. There's the first one, and basically it is about this American who is trying to be a journalist, and suddenly she is sent to Aldovia, where she is supposed to document like this prince who's supposed to take off over the country, but he's a bit of a playboy, at least according to the media, and she's supposed to get like some juicy info on him, and she then pretends she is a tutor for his sister. And anyways, there's three movies, so you can just take a guess on what happens next. In the third one, it is called The Christmas Prince, The Royal Marriage, and then the last one is The Royal Baby. So you can just guess from those titles what is going to happen in the first one and in the next ones. But it is honestly really sweet and really fun. Who doesn't like a Christmas Prince, Like, and honestly, the scenes are breathtaking because there's so much snow and they're riding in a carriage in the snow. It is like modern day, but still, like it is so cool. I think it was filmed in like Romania, and it is just like magical. So on the topic of prince and princesses, we are going to Princess Switch 1, 2, and 3, which stars Vanessa Hudgens from the second movie three times. She plays this doppelgangers. So there's a baker who goes to this kingdom to compete in this baking show. Then there's the princess, or duchess, who is supposed to marry the prince of that kingdom. And later on, there is another sort of like duchess, like the cousin of the princess to be. And in the first one, the baker, or the bakeress, I don't know what you call her, but anyways, the baker and the duchess, princess to be, they switch places, and well, they like the other lives better in a way. Romance sparks, and anyways, it's just so much fun. I It's a bit like Freaky Friday, I would say. Like basically, the family switches place, and it is just so much fun. So, and who doesn't like a princess? And honestly, it's just so interesting, and it's so different from most Christmas movies. Yeah. Okay, this next one again stars Vanessa Hudgens, and it is called The Night Before Christmas. And it is a really sweet movie. I have words that I like to use. Anyways, it is about this knight from a really long time ago, and suddenly he finds himself on a quest in the modern day world. Poor guy's really confused because not only does he not know what his quest is, but he has no idea what's going on. Like, can you imagine coming from a time where he's like riding horses and suddenly there's like planes? Like he's like looking up, being like, "What is that? What is that metal bird? What are those metal steel horses, aka cars, and a magic box that makes merry, which is the television?" He's very confused, and so Vanessa Hudgens plays a character who decides to help him out of the goodness of her heart. Anyways, let's just say they get along really well, and she helps him to try to find his quest, and everyone thinks she's crazy, he's crazy, because he's like, I'm from the olden days, you know? And it's a very sweet, romantic Christmas movie. And yeah. Okay, this next one's called The Holiday Calendar, and it's about this magic holiday calendar that this girl inherits from her grandmother, and her long distance like best friend who's been traveling the world suddenly comes back, and she's like meeting a guy, and she thinks that the holiday calendar is predicting her life, and in a way it is, but she takes it the wrong way, maybe. Or it's like she's very confused. Like, I don't see how this is going on. Everyone thinks she's crazy. And let's just say the story goes a very different way than you'd expect. And it is an extremely fun Christmas movie to watch and like just be cozy. Okay, the next one's called The Holiday Rush. And it's about this like famous radio show host. And suddenly he loses his job. So they had like this big house, like really expensive, and he has four kids who have been spoiled because of this life. And suddenly they have to go live with their grandmother in this tiny house because he lost his job. And he's trying to get his job back, trying to deal with Christmas. The kids are like, I want a pony for Christmas. And dad's like, well, maybe a toy one? Anyways, it's really funny, family drama because dad, like, where's Christmas? And it's also very relatable, I feel like, with a family, like, as a kid, you have no idea what's going on in the family. And yeah, it's just a fun movie to watch. I don't know, guys. I have words that I like to use. Okay. This next one is Operation Christmas Drop. So to give you a bit of like context for this one, in Guam there is a military base that every single year around Christmas time they take planes and they drop supplies to the remote islands. And it's called Operation Christmas Drop. It's a really sweet thing that they do. And so this movie's about that. It's about this woman from Washington D.C. who's sent the to close down this military base, and because they think this Operation Christmas Drop is a waste. But when she's there, she meets this guy who shows her around, and he's trying to like make her be like, don't close us down, and she finally sees it from his perspective. And they have Christmas in Guam, which is really sweet because I also live on a tropical island, so it's really nice to see sort of like a Christmas that's not snowy and everything, but to see my version of Christmas. This next one is also not a Christmas movie in like the snow. It's called Holiday in the Wild, and it's about this woman, and she goes to Africa after her husband decides that he wants a divorce because the kid just left for college, and so he's like, oh, I want a divorce. Okay. And she's like, I already booked the tickets. So anyways, she goes to Africa, and as she's going in a plane over like the safari to go to like a safari hotel, the guy that's flying the plane's like, I see an elephant in danger, so they go help the elephant. And then she's like, I'm gonna help the elephant too. So they go to an elephant sanctuary, and that's where she spends her Christmas. And it is honestly super sweet. And as I said, if you kind of want like a tropical Christmas, and even if you don't, it's a really sweet romantic Christmas movie. And yeah, it's really nice to see a Christmas movie that's not in the snow. And also just the elephants are really cute. Just watch it just for the elephants and the scenery. It's so much fun. Okay, this one is, I haven't watched it this year yet, but I really want to watch it today. It is called Noel. I think it's on Disney Plus, and just this one. I think the rest of them are on Netflix or something. You guys are gonna have to Google. I'm so sorry. So Noel is about the daughter of Santa Claus, and Santa Claus unfortunately passed away. Now his son is supposed to take over, but let's just say the son doesn't want to take over. Oops. And he feels like he's not good at it, and he isn't. And anyways, so Noelle is trying to help him out. He flees, he disappears, and she has to go find him. And she learns things about herself along the way. And it's really nice to see like the Christmas village, and yeah, it's just like you sort of see things from Santa's point of view in a Christmas movie, not from a child's point of view. So yeah, and it's really just fun to see Christmas that way. So the mic died after a year, so that's still very cool. And I didn't realize, so then I talked for like 25 minutes, and I have a video of 25 minutes of me just talking but no audio. So we're gonna get started again. So if I feel like I'm like thinking about what I said, it's because I'm getting deja vu. Anyways, We're going to start off with Castle for Christmas, which is about this famous writer who writes this book. She's writing this book series, and the final one, the people just really did not like because she like somehow ended a character in a way people did not like. It was a famous like it was like a guy or whatever, and so she decides to go to Scotland, where her dad used to be a groundskeeper at one of the castles, and she sees that the castle is for sale, so she tries to buy it, but the Duke is not having it. He's like, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell to her. She's like, this random American. I'm not going to be selling it to her. And also, he just wants to keep the deposit and he's trying to kick her out. But she buys it, puts in the deposit, and is living there. And there's like a escrow or whatever. And so she's living there. And it's really fun. And let's just say at Christmas time, the Duke may change his mind. Okay. The Noel Diary starts off a little bit sad, but again, about a famous writer. And he basically is cleaning out his mother's house when this woman suddenly shows up at his door. It's like, hi, do you know Noelle? She still live here. He's like, doesn't ring a bell. Turns out she's looking for her mother, whose name was Noelle. And in the end, they find out that they're connected because Noelle used to nanny this boy when she was actually pregnant with this woman, which they find out later on through the story. Um, Anyways, they use the Noelle's diary to go on a quest and find her mother, and they learn a lot about each other. Yeah. Okay. Let It Snow is around Christmas time, and there's a big snowstorm, and it goes around different like young adults or teenage stories that happen in that town where the snowstorm happened, and they're very interconnected because it's a small town. Like one of them is this guy who's in love with his best friend, but he's afraid to tell her. You know, so that's one of the issues. Another guy is trying to throw a Christmas party without his parents knowing because his parents are leaving town. But the snowstorm kind of puts a fork into that. There's another girl who is dealing with a breakup and a friendship issue, and there's another girl who's trying to find a Christmas present for her mother and meets this famous singer who's stuck there. So she's like, fine, I'll help you, even though I don't like you, even though I don't even know you. So yeah, it's really sweet and definitely a very relatable Christmas, I gotta say. Like, very relatable issues, especially if you're a young adult or a teenager. I keep checking the mic. Okay, this is a new one. It is called Champagne Problems, and honestly, it's one of my favorite Christmas new movies that I've seen this year. And it was the first one I watched, and so it kind of ruined the rest of them for me, but that's fine. Basically, it is about this woman, and she goes to Paris to try to take over this champagne business because she works for this big like wine company. And she goes there, and the night before, she goes on the town in Paris and meets this guy. Turns out the guy's the heir to the company. Yikes. Anyways, she has to compete with other business owners. There's a guy named Otto who's German who has these great German sayings and says them with such a straight face. It is just hilarious. And then there's Roberto, who is also extremely funny, but he's like funny. He's not saying anything that's like a German saying. He's just funny. So yeah, that's a really fun one to watch. Another new one is My Secret Santa, which is about this woman and she loses her job right before Christmas. And her daughter wants to go to this like snowboarding academy, but she can't afford that. Unless she works there, she would get a big discount. But the only thing that she can do at that hotel, because that's the only thing that's open, is Santa. So she decides to turn herself into Santa, and obviously that comes with big issues because living a Hannah Montana life is not for everybody. So let me just leave it at that. Jingle Bell Heist is another new one. It is about these two people who again need money. But they decide to go to crime, you know? They meet through a security camera, and they decide to steal something, but there's a major plot twist while they're trying to steal because, well, they're just ordinary people. They're not like actually people that steal things. Um, a little bit, but not at this big of a scale as they're trying because they join forces to try to get this big billionaire's treasures, which are like jewels and stuff that he keeps in a shop. So yeah. Okay, this next one's a really star-studded one, and it's quite recent. It is called The Family Switch. So this family is really disconnected around Christmas time, and then this like magic thing happens. As they're in the planetarium, and they each wake up, and they have switched places. The mother with the daughter, the dad with the son, and the baby with the dog, which is honestly the most hilarious part of this whole damn movie. And they have to work together because they can't mess up their lives because suddenly the kid is, well, she's a teenager, is suddenly the mom, and the mom goes to work, and they can't mess this up. And so it's really funny, but they also learn and they connect because they suddenly see their lives from a different, like, they see the lives of their children or their parents from that point of view. And I guess the baby sees it from the dog's point of view. That's the funniest thing ever, guys. You guys gotta watch it just for that. Okay, Meet Me Next Christmas is about this woman who gets stuck at an airport during Christmas, and she meets this guy, and he's like, "Let's meet next year at the Pentatonics concert because I like you so much." And why wait a year? Anyways, so they decide to meet, but she's a major procrastinator, so she forgets to buy the damn tickets, and it's sold out because it's Pentatonics at Christmas, so they're known for that. So anyways, she doesn't have tickets, so she like gets this concierge guy, this personal concierge, to try to help her get the tickets. But there are no tickets, and so she goes through these major obstacles. She kind of gets the ticket, doesn't get the ticket. It's very complicated, but it is extremely fun. And if you like Pentatonics, it's for you because they are actually there. Now, our little secret, again, star-studded. There's Kristen Chenoweth and Lindsay Lohan, and basically, it's about this family and the daughter and son. They bring home a boyfriend and girlfriend, and when they get there, the boyfriend and girlfriend realize that the boyfriend and girlfriend have dated. What are the odds? Anyways, so they're like, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you," and pretend like they've never met. So that's their little secret. But people start getting suspicious, and things get a little bit like sus, as the kids nowadays would say. Yeah, so they're trying to like figure out what to do to not let other people know. And if you watch a lot of Christmas movies or romantic movies, you know how this will end. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. It's definitely really fun. It's really funny. It's kind of like when you and your siblings are trying to keep a secret, but at a larger scale. Last Christmas. So that's another movie. Before you start singing the song, um, it is a bit based on the song. So if you think about the song, it's a little bit about like the meaning of the song, maybe in a way. But it's about this girl, and she works at this absurd Santa shop or Christmas shop with like the most crazy Christmas ornaments you've ever seen in London. And she suddenly meets this guy, and he sort of makes her see the world a whole different way. But there is again a major plot twist that you wouldn't expect. The guy keeps disappearing. And anyways, let's just say her life is turned upside down because of this guy in a good way. She suddenly decides to help out people. She like sees the world in a whole different way. Okay, this next one's called Holiday. Again, star-studded. Kristen Chenoweth, Emma Roberts, Jessica Capshaw, so many other people are playing in that. Basically, it's a bit less Christmassy, but it is about this family. And there's this girl, and she is single, and her parents, or her mom at least, finds it extremely annoying that she's single. And they're at Christmas, the eldest daughter already is married, has kids, the younger brother suddenly becomes engaged. The only person who's single also is the aunt, but she always has someone because she has a holiday, which means she only brings home a guy for Christmas and all the other holidays. She tells her niece that, and niece is like, "I like that idea." So suddenly she meets a guy at the mall, and she's like, "We should be holidays," and he's like, "I love that idea." He's Australian, so they only go to her family. And let's just say spending all of the holidays, which they spend like every single holiday, like holidays that people like go like, "Oh yeah, happy whatever holiday," and then that's it. But they celebrate every single holiday. So spending that much time together with the family, like intimate, like because it's like a small family thing. It's not like they're going to big parties or whatever. That is something that obviously will turn into sparks. Okay, so we're in the home stretch, people. Whoa! Okay, so Christmas Inheritance is about this party girl whose dad owns this big company, and she wants to play a bigger part in the company, but she is a party girl and she messes up, and her dad is like, "Okay, enough, spoiled little rat, you are going to this small town and you're going to do the partake in this Christmas tradition, which is where he and the other owner who grew up and were raised in this small town, they exchange letters, handwritten letters about information every single Christmas. And so you have to give it straight to that person. And he's like, I'm not doing it, you are. So she has to go, but there's no credit card, only $100, no phone. So she's just like, great. Spoiled little kid. And she meets this guy who, she's like, I don't like you, but he plays a big part in this like whole little town. And the guy who's supposed to give the letter to is in there, so she has to spend more time there. And she learns a lot about her family history, and she learns a lot about herself. And her fiance is like, I want to go to Maui because she has a big hotshot fiance from the city. It's like, I want to go to Maui. Let's go to Maui. Just like ditch this like family tradition. She's like, no. Yeah. So she learns about herself, and it's a really sweet story. Christmas with You is about this famous Latina singer, and she's like, I'm never gonna sing a Christmas song, but currently I need like good PR. So on social media she sees this girl do a cover of her song and say how important it is. So she's like, I'm gonna go to her school and I'm gonna go surprise her for good PR. So she goes, she meets the dad as well. They're like, do you want to meet our family? So she goes to the family's house. And anyways, then she decides she will write a Christmas song because she realizes how this family really like also writes music. So she writes a Christmas song with them. They go through obstacles, they get really close. It's really nice. It's like she comes a bit down to earth, like from being a pop star to real life. Love Hard is about the dangers of like Tinder and all those dating websites, I guess, because there's this girl and she's trying to find a guy and she finds one she thinks is really cute on the dating app. So she's like, I'm gonna go surprise him for Christmas at his house. Girl, yeah, not a good idea because she was catfished. The guy's still like, he's not like mean or anything, but his family's like, oh my gosh, he has a girlfriend. So they have to pretend to date. His brother gets engaged. They're like, oh my gosh, you should get engaged too. And the girl's like, no. Anyways, so she has to deal with all of those issues, family, but she's also trying to get another guy during all of that, and she learns a lot about herself and love, you know, and also the dangers of social media and dating websites. Okay, Paris Christmas Waltz is about this woman, and she gets a job in Paris to waltz, to dance with this guy, and he's like, this relationship is strictly professional. I don't date, okay? And she's like, okay. Said every guy in every Christmas movie, holiday, romantic movie ever. It's not professional. Anyways, um, so she deals with all these issues. She's having a hard time but in Paris. Just basically, if you've watched The Summer I Turned Pretty, imagine Belly in Paris, except if she was a dancer. Basically the same thing. Okay, this one I just had to include. It's not like my favorite, but it's actually kind of funny. It's called "Twas the Text Before Christmas," and it's about this grandmother, and she's inviting her family for Christmas like she does every single year. But she by accident sends a text to a random stranger, and the stranger like answers like, "Who are you?" And she's like, "You should come." So the woman goes, and then she goes every single Christmas. She goes to their house, and obviously that means she gets to know the family and her sons really well. So she gets to know the family, and then she becomes more part of a family as she goes there every single year. I Believe in Santa is kind of so crazy that it is really funny. It is about this couple, and they're like really hitting it off. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we're so good together." But then like Christmas comes, and the woman like doesn't hate Christmas, but she really dislikes Christmas. And she has a daughter, she's like, we're just gonna do basic Christmas. But then she finds out the guy is really into Santa Claus and the whole Christmas. He believes in Santa Claus and all of Christmas. He just like believes in Christmas magic, like as he should. But she doesn't. And she has a daughter, and so he starts like planning all these Christmas activities. He's like, we gotta break up. This is too much. And so they deal with the issues because she's like a Scrooge, she's the Grinch, and he is literally Kris Kringle. So yeah, that's basically what this is about. And the last one is A California Christmas. It's less Christmassy, but what's really important to note, it is about this big city hotshot again failing the company. The mom's like, you got to show me you can do more than finding a girl in your life. And you know He goes and he's supposed to like try to get this like ranch or this farmer's place, farmer land from these farmers, and but they don't like want the money or anything. So he pretends to be the ranch hand, but he knows nothing about this. Guys, like he wears a suit. That's all he does. He's a suit, and so as he's helping out, he meets the girl that's in charge, and they really hit it off. But then the mom's like, "Time's up, I'm coming," and he's like, "No, no, 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 no." So that's what happens in the first one, and because there's a second one, that should tell you something. In the second one, he's in charge of the company, but a small town and big city are big differences. So yeah, it's about like a winery and they start dealing with wine and it's very sweet. I watched it last night and I'm gonna watch the second one. So yeah. Uh as I said, this is actually one of the few movies where the big city guy actually wins over the girl because usually it's the small town guy in flannel as the big city girl comes in. So if you are a big city girl going to a small town, be aware. Um, so I've watched so many Christmas movies, I know this by now. So thank you guys so much for watching. My big Christmas wish this year is to hit 10K by 2026. If you can help me with that, I'd be really grateful. Also, comment down your favorite Christmas movies. And also every single Friday, if you like watching movies and TV shows, I post a movie/TV show recommendations. Currently, I do it more because it's Christmas time, but afterwards, it's just basically every single Friday for whatever theme you guys want. So yeah, I'm really excited and Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you so much for watching.